she doesn't feel as good when she has the power and control. It feels good, but it's kind of like, I call it like the second best feeling. Like, yeah, I'm in power and control. She would rather have the number one feeling, which is I get to chase a guy, right? I get to go after him and work for him. That's the best feeling. If you don't give her that, sure, she'll settle for, let me control this guy.
So when it comes to getting a woman back, changing her mind about you, changing her opinion about you, having her attracted to you again, and you set about doing it, what inevitably happens is you're gonna run into tests on her part. And these tests are designed to throw you a curveball, to see if you've really changed, to see if you're really this new attractive man, or if you're the same old guy she's always known. How do you know if she's testing you? And more importantly, how do you pass these tests? That's what Chris Anderson and I are going to be talking about in today's video. Hey guys, I'm Bobby Rio here with Chris Anderson.
What's up, guys?
So a lot of times when, and Chris and I both, I mean, we coach a lot of guys, and we run into guys who inevitably come to us because they were into a girl, things were going well, and then something in the dynamic changed. She started viewing them maybe not as the cool, attractive guy, more as the needy guy. Some other examples that you've had, Chris, with your clients recently. Give us some examples of how that dynamic changes.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys come to us, obviously the girl's interest has gone down. She's not as attracted as before. And I call them like the usual suspects. It's like, you're probably messaging with her too much. You're probably too available. You're probably never telling her no. You're getting kind of reactive. You lose your cool. A big one is you've lost your sense of humor. Like, you're not really fun anymore. And like I said, those are the usual suspects. Those are the things that we know you're doing wrong. So we can kind of teach you how to correct them. But what we've learned through coaching is sometimes it's not as easy as just, what do you do? It's like you were saying at the beginning, when you do those things and she tests you on it and she throws you a curveball, how do you handle that? That's what we want to talk about today.
Yeah, and the great thing about this, Chris, and I tell my clients this all the time, is that a lot of guys get really upset when they're like, well, she didn't react right away and she threw me this curveball, or she, we call it test, right? She tested me, and It frustrates them. But I always explain that these are actually softballs, because when you realize it's going to happen, it gives you another chance in that moment to show that you've changed, right? Because she's testing you, and now that you know it's going to happen and you're kind of prepared for it, when you get one of these tests, and we're going to give you some examples of some of the common ways she's going to do this, you can then react the right way, which not only doesn't fail the test, but it actually increases her attraction towards you. So why don't we give them some of, I think there's about 3 common ones.
Yeah.
There's more than 3, but there's 3 really common ones that we've been running into lately that you and I have discussed about some of the clients that we're working with. And why don't you give them some examples of the 3 most common tests you've been seeing, and how a guy can handle it in a better way.
Yeah, well, the first test I see is, all right, so you're committed to the plan. You're actually excited to make these changes, and you start doing some of the things we talk about in coach. And the first test is really, she tries to scare you into going back to your wimpy ways, right? You're like, all right, I'm ready to go. I'm going to do this. You do one thing and it's like, oh my God, she's upset, and I'm going to, run back to being the wimp again. An example of this, and me and Bobby were joking about this yesterday. It's like, once you really get in with a girl and you're messaging all the time, you get to the point where you're doing good morning text and good night text, and she's texting you boring things like, hey, what time did you wake up today? And you're actually seriously answering this. You're like, hey, I woke up at 6:30. It was a nice morning, right? These are the things that are just, there's nothing really wrong with it, but it's not exciting. It's lowering her interest. It's boring, predictable, etc.
It's giving her the sense that you guys don't have chemistry, because when you have chemistry, It's fun. It's like there's a dynamic, and once it gets into that sort of logical texting conversation, in her mind, she's going, and even though she's partly responsible for it, right? She's sending you boring text too, but in her mind, she's just going, it's chemistry. Like, we don't, it's a feeling she has. We don't mesh. We're not on the same page. We don't have this fun, playful vibe.
Right. Yeah, it's so true. So what I counsel my clients is, listen, we got to get back to being playful. And a lot of times they say, well, what should I write back? What should I do? And I go, listen, everybody's humor is different, but I tell them what I do. I go, listen, whatever comes off the top of my head, that's what I write. Because usually your first thought is kind of funny and fun. It's that thought that you're not censoring, right? You're not thinking about it too much. So as an example, they'll say, all right, the girl, hey, what time did you wake up this morning? You write back, the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. Now, you might not think that's funny or your humor is different than mine, whatever. But the point is, you're amusing yourself. You're being playful. You don't care, right? Now, at the beginning of the relationship, you would have got an LOL, a smiley face emoji. You're so funny. But when her interest is going down, she might write back something like, what? You're weird. Like, what drug are you on? Or something like that, right? Really what that is trying to scare you back into being the wimpy guy, the serious guy, the guy that writes, I woke up at 7:15 and had cereal. Like, nobody cares, right? So whatever you write, I want you to get back into that fun, playful vibe that you used to have. Don't be scared away by it.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways this shows up. I can remember years ago, I was in the friend zone with this girl, and I kind of had to determine that I'm going to get out. And I knew in a way that this was a possibility, right? Because I'm like, I knew that at some point I had to express attraction to her, okay? And I knew that I had to begin in, same thing we tell our clients, like, you got to let her know, you got to build sexual tension. And one night we're hanging out and she looked really good, and I'm like looking at her, and I'm, kind of looking at her in the way you look at somebody you're attracted to. And she goes, what, why are you looking at me that way? Right. And this is a test, right? It's like, well, because we had, like, something was changing that night. Like, I had been doing things differently, and I knew she was feeling something different as well. But part of her still had to fight back against it. Like, why are you looking at me like that? You're looking at me in a weird way. And it's like, in that moment, I could have done two things. I could have been like, no, I wasn't looking at you. What do you mean? Like, right? And I just go, but I just like smirked at her, and I go, like there was nothing. And I kept looking at her. Later on that night, we wound up kissing for the first time. And it's like, that moment was almost a make or break moment. Because had I
that was the test, right?
Like, oh, I wasn't looking at you, or like, instead I was just like, I forget the exact details. I made a comment because her, like, nipples were showing. I go, it's like, and in that moment, it's like, I could have apologized and been like, oh no, like, but I stuck with it. And you're always going to face these moments. Is kind of what Chris and I are trying to drill in this video. It's like, there's going to be these little tests, and you got to be aware of them. You can't let them take you off the plan that you've created for yourself, or Chris and I have helped you create.
And you kind of deserve it, right? Because you've made mistakes. You're not immediately let back into the club, right? You deserve to be tested. So don't get all butthurt about it. Like, you should be tested. You've made mistakes, pass the test, and you're back in the club. But you have to, like your story, like, for a while you probably weren't making a move, or you were kind of being too friendly. She tested you. Now you've moved forward.
A lot of ways. One of the, I had another client who I had told him, I looked at his Instagram pictures, and I kind of gave him some friendly advice that he had to dress a little better, right? Because he dressed very, like, loose clothes. So I had him go out and, and I'm not a fashion expert, but I was like, just buy this, right? It's a standard. And he wears it, and she goes, like, you never wear that. Like, she kind of made a comment to him, right? And it's like, they're going to do that when you change anything and to make yourself more attractive. They're going to, like, push back, and you have to be aware of it. You have to let it roll off you. You can't let it nervous you. You can't go, oh no, I'm never going to wear this again because she like said something, right? So there's a lot of ways this plays out you got to be aware of.
Yeah. And I'll say this quickly too, like, just imagine this. Picture there's two guys competing for the same girl, right? So let's say one of the things you use, you say, hey, I'm going to follow their advice. I'm not going to message her as much, right? So she texts you, why didn't you text last night? Where were you, right? The first guy is the guy who's unattractive. He flies off the handle, right? He loses his cool. I did text you. I texted you 5 times yesterday. He's being logical. He's being reactive. He's getting caught up in the moment. The second guy, the guy we want you to be, is the guy who's cool and calm and uses humor, right? He deflects it. He's like, oh, I didn't text yesterday. I was home writing you a poem. It's going to be delivered to your house soon. Look out for it, right? Yeah. It's humor. It's fun. It's frustrating her in a fun way, while the other guy is frustrating her in a negative way. There's arguing and drama. Now, here's why you win. I just want to make this point because it's really important. Even if you don't text her all the time, but you react and she can get you to react, she still wins because she's like, well, I can't tame him and get him to text all the time, but I can still get him to react. Yeah. I can still get him to jump when I get mad. But this other guy, he doesn't react. He just diffuses it with humor and moves on. So really, that's how you win in these situations.
All right, so let's get into another example of one of the common things that you're going to notice as you're working to win a woman's attraction back, or maybe even get out of the friend zone. Just basically change her attitude towards you.
Yeah. So the next thing I notice when I'm kind of coaching guys to get the interest back, we talk. She tests you, tries to get you back to your wimpy ways. If you pass that hurdle, right? So I'm like, all right, I passed that one. You'll notice she starts to get moody, right? Hey, Chris, why isn't she so excited? Why isn't she jumping for joy? I'm doing things right now. Well, really, you're starting to take back the power. She's starting to have to give up the control. She's not going to be excited about it, right? She had that, and now she has to give it up. A joke I like to make is, you ever see in like the year 1600, a country wins some like little island in a war, and then it's like 400 years later, they're like, can we have that island back? And the country's like, no, we won it in the war, right? Women are the same way. They've tamed you. They've taken this from you. They've gotten you to text every day and be serious. They don't easily just give it back, right? Mm-hmm. So when you're moving in this direction, they can get a little bit moody, right? Now, when this happens, you don't want to lose your cool. You don't want to get angry. You kind of want to expect that it's going to happen. But I'll just give a quick example. Let's say you go over to her place, right? You were supposed to get together. You show up. She's wearing a hoodie. She's staring at her phone the whole time. She's ignoring you, right? Because she's moody about this whole new you're putting into effect. You calmly say, hey, looks like you got a lot on your mind tonight. Smile, and you calmly take off. You walk away. You don't walk away from the whole relationship and say, I'm breaking up with her. She disrespected me. Like we said, you kind of deserve the disrespect. You've been a wimp this whole time. But you politely walk away in that moment, not from the relationship, and you come back when she's in a good mood.
Yeah, I have a example that plays into that perfectly, and it actually involves the previous example I gave, where I had said something kind of and looked at a female friend sexual. We were on a vacation. A bunch of our people from my social scene had gone down to Mexico, and we were all hanging out, and that's where the first thing happened, where I looked at her in that way. She tested me, but I stuck with it, and I wound up hooking up with her. Now the rest of the trip, we were hooking up, we were hanging out, almost coupleizing, but my wimpy behavior started seeping out again. Because I thought, okay, I got her, and then I went and got her food. I was just doing all these things that were back friend zone-y type things, and I felt that interest lessening again. And then towards the end of the trip, that bad mood came out, exactly what you're talking about. I remember we were going to the airport. They made an announcement that a flight had opened up that leaves earlier. And, we were there with a group of friends. So she's like, I want to go on the earlier flight with, why don't me and you take those 2 seats on the earlier flight? And I'm like, yeah, but my friends are on, all our friends are on this one. Let's just go with them. She's like, I don't want to go with them. I want to go on the earlier one. And she got really moody, right? She's just like in this bad mood. And I go, okay, you know what? Go on the earlier one. I'm going with my friends. We came here with them. And I walked up ahead of her.
Right.
And I left her behind. I just kept walking. And she's walking like slow. And then all of a sudden, she catches up to me. And boom, her mood had changed. She holds my hand again. It was the clearest demonstration of how when you stand up for yourself in a moment like that, you may think you're doing the wrong. And this is why nice guys don't get it, right? They think by appeasing somebody, it's building attraction. They think that if I go, you know what, I will go on that earlier flight with you, and like we can leave our friends and we'll be together, like that's going to be the more attractive thing. But you and I, we often say the most attractive word that you can say to a woman is no. And saying no to her and standing up for myself in that moment, I mean, I saw the switch in her the minute I did that. And like I said, she caught up to me, and then all of a sudden, everything that I had been losing the last couple of days in terms of the physical affection, it came right back in that moment. So look at that moodiness as Chris said, don't accept it, and don't try to cheer her up, right? That's a mistake a lot of guys make. They try to cheer her up and get her in a better mood. No, just like, no, you know what? You can go do what you're going to do. I'm going to go do what I got to do.
Yeah, I think for cheering up, I'll do like one little thing. Like if she's moody, you'll do like one little thing, like, hey, well, what's going on? But after that, if she keeps up the mood, but like doing it time after time, then you're just begging, groveling, and she looks at you as some guy that's like doing anything to cheer her up. Yeah, very unattractive.
Yeah, because one thing that we say is you don't want to reward bad behavior.
Right.
And when a woman is being moody or boring, and you're rewarding her by entertaining her and trying to be funny, and it's like she's like, wait a minute, I'm not even being. She knows she's being a bitch. She knows she's being boring, and when you're like still showing her all this interest, you're rewarding bad behavior. She loses respect for you, right? Like she
Yeah.
knows she's not. It's like she wants the guy who loves her and is interested in her best self, right? So when she's being fun and exciting, reward her for that because that's her putting in investment and showing interest. That's fine to reward her back. But if she's not doing that and you're rewarding her, then she's like, "What do I don't have to do anything to have this guy interested," and your value just plummets.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, it's a great point. It's a great point.
So you want
Cool.
to move into the next test that guys need to be aware of?
Yeah. So this is test three. I'm going to actually call this the final exam, right? So she tries to scare you into going back to being the wimp. You jump that hurdle. She gets all moody. You handle that correctly, right? Now you get to your final exam. You've shown her you can kind of walk away for the day if she's going to be moody. Here's where she threatens, keyword, threatens, doesn't actually do it, that she will walk away from you, that she will end the relationship. And you're thinking, what? I'm starting to do things right now.
Yeah.
She's going to be walking away. But what you have to understand is this is a total bluff, right? This isn't her, like when a girl really leaves you, it's because you've lowered her interest. She really doesn't want anything to do with you. She's disgusted by you. That's a real breakup. When she does this, this is not a real breakup. This is her one last Hail Mary, last ditch attempt to try to take back the power, to take back the control. So she will say things like, say you didn't message as much or see her as much. She'll say, well, this kind of just proves that you're not serious about this relationship, or, you're not serious about us. I've seen that a lot with clients, right? Kind of hinting that because you're not messaging as much as you used to, you're not as serious as you used to, you must not be as into the relationship. Nothing could be further from the truth. You're actually more into you're doing things to try to save this relationship. By the way, when we talk about like taking back the power and control, we are doing, like, a lot of times people misconstrue this, like, we need to be the power man. Like, it's not even about that. We're doing it for her benefit, right? She doesn't feel as good when she has the power and control. It feels good, but it's kind of like, I call it like the second best feeling. Like, yeah, I'm in power and control. She would rather have the number one feeling, which is I get to chase a guy, right? I get to go after him and work for him. That's the best feeling. If you don't give her that, sure, she'll settle for, let me control this guy.
Yeah.
That feels pretty good. So everything we're talking about her today is kind of reminding her that, hey, yeah, it may feel good that you're controlling me, but I got a better feeling for you. I'm going to get you chasing me and working for me. You're going to enjoy that better. So when we say take back the power, take back the control, it's not where that like some weird control power freaks. It's like, this is going to make her feel better. She's going to like you more. She's going to enjoy it more. So I just wanted to kind of give that little side note. Anyway, so when she does this and she threatens that she's going to walk away, how he coaches it is this. It's pretty simple. Make her prove it. Make her prove the concept that she can walk away. Because in these situations that I've been coaching, the girl will threaten to walk away. 2 hours later, a text comes in. 3 days later, hey, what are you doing? She wants to hang out. She can't do it. She can't walk away. And if you ask yourself why, it's because you're a good guy. You really, really like her, but now you're giving her that most important ingredient. You're also being a challenge. So you dare her. You go, I'm giving you everything. I dare you to walk away from this. And she can't.
Yeah, I have a crystal clear example of this, and the guy failed, and I want to explain what happened. This was exactly a year ago. As we're recording this, this was a year ago because I remember my phone getting blown up with him. The story was he was dating this girl who had lost attraction to him. She would tell him, like, I don't know, I don't feel it. Maybe let's try being friends. And they would be friends. And then I kind of said, listen, you got to pull back, right? You got to cut her off. So he cuts her off. He still occasionally talks to her, but he's doing everything right. He's playing the game perfectly. And then her interest is getting up, right? She's like, now she used to be the one where like he would send her these long messages and she would like write back LOL and nothing else. Now it's the opposite, right? Now she's writing him the long, everything's going great. And then she's like, because they don't live in the same town, and she's like, I'm going to be in your town. Can we grab lunch? He hadn't seen her in like a week and a half or so. And I go, my advice to him was say yes, but then the day of cancel. And he's like, Bobby, I go, you got to do this. I'm like, trust me, because when you say yes, she's going to go, I got him again. When you cancel, it's going to freak her out, and she's going to be like, oh my God, this is changing, right? So I get him to do it. He cancels. He goes, Bobby, that was the hardest thing I ever did. He cancels on her, and she loses it, right? She's like later on that night, did exactly what she's like texting him, like, I thought, like, what's going on? You canceled. That shows me that you're not like, and he's like telling me this, and I'm like, but everything she said to you previously was like, you're smothering me, right? Like you're giving her what she actually wants now, and it's working, right? But she comes at you and she says exactly that, like I thought, like the fact that you could just cancel after not seeing me.
You're not serious, blah blah blah. Yeah.
So he's emailing me, and then finally at like 12 o'clock at night, I guess he emailed me, and I didn't respond. Listen, neither Chris or I, we don't have a 24/7 like anytime at night. So he emails me at midnight, and I read it the next morning, and it's like, Bobby, I'm really thinking I should call her and explain. I don't see it the next morning. By the time that I saw it, he had called her and explained everything, how he was just doing it because and
reveal
all the progress, everything we did.
Right, down the drain.
Yeah, I had to start. He wound up actually. The last I heard, it's been probably 6 months since we talked. They were back together, but I had to start totally over again. It was like he set that one move of explaining and giving in to her bluff, set us back so much in terms of the progress we made. And it's exactly right. I told you, gotta call her bluff, and he couldn't do it. Right?
Well,
he just
can't do it. They can't walk away.
Yeah.
I teach it like this. I tell guys, it's like, I call it like New Year's, right? New Year's Eve. I'm going to work out this year. I'm going to start a business. People stick with it for 2 days and quit. The girl can't do it. She's going to threaten that she's going to walk away. She can't walk away, right? And it's not some mean thing. It's because you're doing everything right. That's why she can't walk away, right? That's why you dare her. This isn't some tough guy thing. Yeah, walk away from me. You're doing everything right now. You've done it. So, hey, you can walk away, prove it. Go 6 months and don't hang out with me. It's not going to happen if you're doing everything right.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of these 3 tests, right? When you're aware of them, it's almost, in a sense, it's almost like goalposts, right? Like, okay, I got that test.
Right.
It gives you a sense of where you're at, because it's the opposite, right? The more desperate she's getting, the more like the final one, the ultimatum, that's the final exam. The minute that my client's girlfriend or ex, they were actually on a break at that time. The minute that desperation came out, I was doing the victory dance. I knew. I was like, dude, we just won the game. Right. And then it's like he fumbled the ball right in the friggin' end zone. Yeah. And I had to like go back and win the game for him again. But it's like, that's how you know. That's how you know things are going well. You get the test, pass it, get the next test. And then that last one you talked about, that ultimatum test, is really the
right at the end. Because it's just like a guy. If a guy threatens to walk away from a girl, but he comes back with his tail between his legs 2 days later, which guys do, you're done forever. She controls you. This is the opposite of that. She's threatening to leave. 2 days later, she's texting you. She can't walk away. You both secretly know she can't leave. And then, you have so much confidence after that.
And it's funny. Rob Judge, another guy who coaches with us, was just sharing one of his clients. And his client gave the ultimatum to the girl, right? And we both knew. It was like the minute we saw that, he showed me the guy's text, and he's like, and as soon as we saw that he gave the ultimatum to her, we're like, he's done. Like it's it. It's like that ultimatum is a sign of desperation, right? It's like, it's not coming from strength. It's coming from desperation. And just like we're telling you that when she's giving it to you, she knows when she's getting an ultimatum from you. So,
just real quick, that's why we always say walk away for the day, right? Like there's this feeling of, I want to walk away, and dramatic and slam the door. Just politely say, sounds like you're not in a good mood today. We'll hang out some other time. Because let's be honest, you don't want to walk away from this girl. So when you try to be the big tough guy and threaten to walk away and you don't do it, you're done.
Yeah. So, these successes and these things, that we've been seeing, and it's great now because a couple years ago it was like, Rob and I talking, and now we've brought on more and more coaches. Chris has been coaching a lot of sessions. So me and Chris are always on, we're on Skype or calling each other up and working through things. And it's like, we're just learning so much. It's almost like a sort of a snowball. The more clients we do, the more things we learn, the more things we see working, which is why coaching is actually so powerful. Chris, why don't you give, I know some guys are always, every time we do this, I get emails, our support system, hey, what's the deal with coaching? Why don't you give them a little information for guys that might be interested of what kind of scenarios are you seeing the best results with for clients right now?
Yeah, I mean, really, it's even gone beyond coaching at this point. I made the joke, me and Bobby were talking. It's almost we've become like love detectives, right? Every case is different. You send us what's going on. We pour through it. We look for clues, right? We don't look for generalities. Yeah, sure, we have our common advice that we give, but coaching is about tailoring it specifically for you. What's that one needle in the haystack in your case that makes it different? I'll just briefly give an example. A guy I was working with, he was being a challenge. He was doing things right, but he wasn't getting the full results he was looking for. You do a little digging. It turned out her ex-boyfriend was a real negative challenge, really put her down, really gave her a challenge, but in a negative way. The point is, we had to tailor a plan where you had to be a super challenge. You had to really erase this guy's memory, right? You couldn't just do the standard attractive stuff. You had to take it to the next level. Lo and behold, it starts to work. My point is this. We look for those specific clues in your case that are going to help you get this girl. It's not just standard advice or one size fits all. Yeah. That's what coaching is all about. Finding that one thing that's going to make the difference between you getting this girl and not. And again, we don't like to brag, but we've seen it's been pretty amazing this year of what we've been able to do.
Yeah. We both have turned around some ones where we were shocked. You've had situations where you were telling me, and I'm like, this is going to be a tough one, Chris. Yeah. And then you'll come back and you'll have turned it around. So,
well, let me speak to that just real quick.
Yeah.
A lot of guys, the question we get, right, is like, and I'm sure you get it a lot too, is like, Chris, just be honest with me. Can I turn this around? Right. So you're going to think, oh, these guys are dating coaches. They're going to tell you you can get any girl, right? They just want to coach you, right? Or they're going to tell me I have no chance. This is what we tell them. We haven't tried this yet. I can't give you a 100% answer because we haven't tried the things that work. You haven't done this yet. You haven't been a challenge yet. You haven't put these things into practice yet. I can't tell you 100% until you do the right things. Then I'll have a better idea of what to tell you. So you need to get the coaching and try these things to give yourself the best chance.
Yep. So what I'm going to do is, I know a lot of guys want to go, how can I, learn about the packages and stuff. So I'll put a link under this video to Chris's packages for those of you that would like to see what he offers, see what kind of packages he offers. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel. I'm also going to put a link to Chris's YouTube channel under the video as well, so that you can check out his videos if you want to learn a little bit more about him. And leave us a comment. Let us know what you want to see us cover in future videos. Make sure that you hit like to let us know that you enjoyed this. We'll see you guys later, and the coaching links are below.